And some people will say, well, you're just telling people to live in fear. I say, I'm not teaching you to live in fear. I'm teaching you to live with empowerment.
Right.
You know, have the belief in yourself and the knowledge and the actual skill set that you could do something about it. Otherwise, you have no choice but to live in fear. Mm-hmm. You know.
Welcome to Old Guy Talks to Me, a podcast dedicated to helping guys create kick-ass lives for themselves and those that they love. Ladies, if you want to know what your guy is thinking, this podcast is for women too. Each week, a special guest helps you create that life you've imagined. We talk anti-aging medicine, personal growth, relationships and hot sex. Yeah, you hear me, getting laid more frequently. Other guy vices, and topics that many don't want to talk about but need to. Just because you're getting older doesn't mean you have to be old. Don't want to miss anything? Be sure to subscribe, share, rate, and review this podcast. And be sure to go to www.thestandard.academy/magazine and grab a free copy of our new digital magazine, The Standard Academy, where we talk about erogenous zones, growing hair back, and other things that will help you create that kick-ass life. Now get ready to listen up and share with friends.
This is Royce, the official old guy from oldguytalkstome.com, here to talk to you about stuff well, help you create that kick-ass life for yourself and those that you love. And one of the parts about doing that is we'll be able to protect yourself so you don't get beat up as an old person. And, we're seeing a lot of that. I mean, we're seeing a lot of that where people are getting beat up and especially older people, people that are easy to prey on. And so today I got Andy and Michelle Cassady, and they have the Cassady Martial Arts, and they also have an online program at CassadyMartialArts.com. And they believe that black belt leaders are made, not born, and their mission is to teach others to become black belt leaders and future leaders in society. They encourage and provide opportunity for students to learn communication, leadership, and the art of teaching others and methodology. And their mission is to see your child and you improve as a whole person, realizing that black rank graduation is just part of the big picture. All right.
Definitely. Well said.
All right. So thanks for coming on board here. And so I always start my interviews with this question for all my guests. And what is the most important thing you've done today?
Today?
Yeah.
For me, I got up and did like 20 minutes of yoga and stretching. So that's to get moving. That's the most important thing I've done so far.
Okay. Michelle?
For me, it would be us taking care of our financial future by stopping by our financial advisor.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, let's get into the main part of the program. Now, you have an interesting backstory about why you got into self-defense and martial arts and things like that. Can you guys kind of, it's similar but different. Can each of you take a moment to kind of explain how you got here?
Sure. Do you want to go first?
You can go first.
Okay. Mine's very common. I was raised to believe that you could always talk your way out of problems, right? There's, if you're nice to people, they're going to be nice to you. And one night about 1:30 a.m. in a parking lot, wrong place, wrong time, I found out otherwise. So some people are just intent on hurting you for whatever reason. And if you don't know how to do something about it, you're basically a helpless victim because you have no other course of action. So got my nose smashed, split. Actually, I still have a scar on my nose. Split wide open with something metal because they had to scrape stuff out of my nose before they could repair it. And anyway, got fixed up and kind of decided that, I kind of need to learn to fight. And so this never happens again because the feeling of being, just totally helpless. You don't have answers. And I was 23 years old and I was scared to death. And so I didn't want to feel that way anymore. So like 3 weeks after I got healed up, I started training. And that was like 25, 26 years ago. Haven't stopped since.
And Michelle, what's your story?
Mine is I was in a physically abusive relationship, and it got to the point where I was drug out of my house by my wrist. And at that point, I had enough. And so I went to women's self-defense class, and the very first thing taught was wrist grab releases and how to get out of it. So after, that was 8 years ago, almost 8 years ago. So I don't look back at anything now. I feel a lot more confident, being able to protect myself. And I try to educate other women that this is something that I feel is needed, not just wanted.
My daughters did a year and a half of Krav Maga, and
Nice.
the first thing that they taught them was how to break someone's wrist that's grabbing you by your hair.
Yeah. Which is good.
That's a great move, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's people don't realize it, but like, yeah, that's like the that was like day one.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
It was ironic because the first thing we taught in that was actually my self-defense class, by the way, that she attended. And I had no idea of her background. And the very first thing we taught was the one thing she needed the most.
Mhm.
And so she was like, oh wow, this is something else.
So we talk about it. What are some of the stories that you hear from your students as they come in? Because you have kids that come in and you have adults. And what's the difference between training kids and training adults?
I'll go first. You want to talk about the kids? So the adults are very difficult, to be honest, because, and I can speak on it. I've been that guy, right? So they don't want to admit what they don't know, especially men, right?
Mhm.
We don't want to admit that we don't know something or we might have a weakness somewhere. So it goes one of two ways when they come in. And I'm just referring to adult men. They will either come in and train and start to realize what they don't know, and that will either inspire them to learn more, and they just go all in and they're like, okay, I'm going to accept this, I'm going to accept where I'm at presently, and I'm going to go forward from here. Or it goes the opposite way and they're like, I don't want to accept this, I don't want to admit it, I'm going to go back and just pretend I'm Billy Badass, for lack of a better term, and they just quit. And that's literally, it goes one of two ways. It's just either they accept it or they totally just reject it and they're out of here. And it's more of an ego thing, And I've been teaching for a long time. I see the same thing over and over. So
yeah, and I can talk on behalf of women and the kids. So the women, they'll come in with stories of they were in a situation. It could be any kind of abusive situation, and they want to learn how to protect themselves. The problem is they'll come in and give it 2-3 months. They feel confident enough to protect themselves. And so they feel like they already have that background, which is better than nothing in my opinion. But if you don't keep on training it, you're going to lose it.
Sure.
So with the kids, it's bullying. There's a lot of kids that come in. Discipline and bullying are the two major reasons we get children in. And so right now in our community, we have an issue with the middle school here that there's a lot of kids being bullied to the point of being attacked physically, and either not being able to fight back, or they're fighting back and they're getting in trouble for it. And so it's a matter of teaching the kids when is the right time to fight back, verbally, but it's a matter of teaching them, if you're attacked physically, you have every right to defend yourself. And so a lot of parents are looking to us for conclusions on what to do with the situations that they're in or the kids are in.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting phenomenon that in some schools that you can be attacked, but if you defend yourself physically, you're being attacked physically, but you are also in trouble, which I think that is kind of it's a level of suspension of reality. And
100% agree with that. Yeah.
And I just would think, okay, you're the administrator, school administrator. What would be your reaction if I came over and punched you in the face?
Well, they don't want to look at it that way.
Yeah, well, that makes it real personal. You know, it's kind of like, okay, let me put you in the situation where somebody is attacking you. What are you going to do? Are you going to go, you know, you're being attacked. There's no exit. You can't, there's no principal to run to or teacher or whatever.
Right.
You know, you know, so how do you guys handle that?
Well, I am very vocal. Well, you're friends with me on Facebook, so I'm very vocal about a lot of issues. And I actually touched on this one recently. And you know, we congratulate the kids if they do the right thing. You know, if you defended yourself and it was called for, and you knew when to stop, you know, and you handled it correctly, hats off to you. You know, great job. And we know we have the same discussion with the parents, and the parents are on the same page because they had this. I'll just speak on our local school. They have a no tolerance bullying policy, which means you're not supposed to bully, but you're also not supposed to fight back, which is what you mentioned, which is that suspension of reality, so to speak. You know, and so you get in just as much trouble for defending yourself as you do, you know. And the other kid, he doesn't care about the rules, so he's going to keep going anyway. And but we had, what was it, 2 weeks ago? We had 4 of our kids get in trouble at school for defending themselves against the bully, and 2 of them defending themselves against the same kid. So I think we've identified the problem, and it's not our kids. It's you know. But I'll let Michelle go. I'll get off on a tirade on that. That's very personal to me.
Yeah,
So.
no, it does bother me too. But the main thing is when we teach kids, you know, hands up, you know, stop, you know, verbally try to de-escalate the situation. But we know that it doesn't always work that way. Yes, if somebody is going to throw a punch at you, you're going to defend yourself. If somebody's going to say, hey, I'm going to hurt you, then you have to take it seriously. And so we tell the kids that we let them know that, you know, we don't go out there and we don't pick fights. We don't look for fights.
Right.
You know, you should have the self-confidence and the self-control to be able to stop that from happening. And so that's a huge thing, is self-control and knowing when to do the right thing and when not to do the right thing. And so what frustrates me is that the kids are doing the right thing and they come to me and say, I don't understand. I still got suspended. And so it's a fine line between the school system and what we teach and we believe in. And it's not fair that they defended themselves, but they still got in trouble because that's the policy.
Have you ever gone back to the school on this?
Yeah, that's a different topic. Yes. And I do appreciate the fact that the parents are obviously on our side and they're sticking up for their kids. And they're just like, a lot of parents are at the point where they don't want them to return back. They are starting to homeschool them because of it, which is, you know, maybe the right solution, may not be, but it's to the point where nothing's being done. And the school is a school. I mean, we have a very tough leader right now who really believes in no fighting, no matter what. And you should be able to take the punches and the physical abuse against you. And that's the philosophy.
I just think you should just say, hey, come on down to our studio and let's see how long before let's see how long before you decide to fight back.
Yeah.
Will it be 2 or 3 punches?
Yeah. How long are you going to stand there and take it? Because you're not allowed to fight back. That's wrong. So you're going to take me just pounding away at you.
Yeah.
Until you know you either give up or someone shows up to save you.
Right.
Yeah, and this is a cultural thing that I kind of feel is that we're in some ways we're raising victims.
Oh yeah.
Oh, 100%, Royce.
And so it's kind of like at some point you need to be personally responsible and take care of business. And I'll just kind of relay a story of when my daughter was in high school, where she started a new school. She was in actual middle school. And she went to a new school. My daughter's pretty athletic, and but she's kind of small, but she's aggressive. And this boy kept on trying to run her into a locker. And so we talked about this. And he says, Dad, what do I do? He says, I know I can punch him, but then I'm going to get in trouble. And so I said, listen, next time he tries to do this, this is what you tell him. I said, you tell him that if he doesn't cut this shit out, that she's going to start calling him cockroach. And she said, not only will I call you cockroach, but you see all my girlfriends over there, all 8 of them, they're going to start calling you cockroach. And then everybody in the class and school is going to start calling you cockroach. And that's going to be your name until you graduate from high school.
Brilliant.
I like that a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. And sure enough, that stopped. But, it was like her ability, what do you do? Go to the principal? Because what's the principal going to do? They're not on the hallway all the time.
Right.
And so it's just, you got to teach your kids to be resilient and self-sufficient in a lot of ways. And the policies of like, oh, just sit there and take it. I would encourage you to invite that administration. Come on, let's see. You want people to act a certain way. Why don't you provide the leadership and show us how you do it?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I may reach out to him on that because we do know him. And
Yeah.
maybe next time this pops up with one of our kids in our academy, I may reach out and just say, hey, let's why don't you be a leader with your policy here? Come on
Fine.
in.
And see how see whether how long before you decide to fight back.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But to talk about the women, why they don't, like what I do about that is there's not really much you can do, but I educate them on Facebook, educate them in situations and make them realize that it's needed. Also women's self-defense. I'm getting ready to do a course on April 2nd. So I think with women, it's more of, that 2-hour course will teach me everything I need to know. It won't, but my feeling is as long as I can teach them something that they can remember, whether it's, telling them about situations, at least I can teach them something if they're not willing to come in. I try to get them into the academy. We do have women in our program that are long-term, but I just feel like some of them, they feel uncomfortable. And my feeling is, it does teach you to feel comfortable in uncomfortable situations, but what are they going to do if something happens to them? You don't want to do that choke defense because you don't want hands around your neck. But what are you going to do if you're attacked and that really does happen?
Sure.
You can't, you can't avoid that. So
Tell them what you did to your daughter.
Oh yeah. So Samantha, going to college.
I love this story, by the way.
Yeah. So she's going to college and I told her, I wanted her to do some training. And she kept on resisting it. And so I brought her into the academy and said, you have no choice. I did this a couple times. She's one that doesn't like her neck touched. So I did grab her by the neck and push her against the wall and tell her to get out of it. Because I said, your attacker's not going to say, oh, I'm sorry. Where else can I attack you at?
Sure.
So, and she caught on real fast and she was fine with it and she got over it real fast. But I wanted her to realize that, you don't have a choice when you're attacked. You don't have a choice where they're going to attack you at, what they're going to do. Yeah.
So I kind of want to talk though, kind of the stages, because we kind of touched on it briefly. And there's situational awareness.
Yes.
There's talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
There's defense, and then there's where you are actually physically involved. Can you take us through those steps?
Sure. So the situational awareness is one of the first things we talk about, right? Which is being aware of your surroundings, right? And I always use this for example. You walk around anywhere, and most people are doing what? They're down on their phone.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yep. And I tell them, guys, knock it off. There's nothing that important, and we will show how quickly it can change just by someone asking you a question, getting in close proximity, and I tell people there's nothing wrong with profiling. If someone gives you a bad feeling or looks a little shady, then avoid them. Don't worry about hurting their feelings. You don't know them, but just being aware of where you're at, what the situation is around you. If you're in a parking lot, where you parked, things like that, you can really make a big difference. And then as far as if the confrontation starts to get a little more escalated, someone gets close enough, the first thing we teach even adults is hands here, right? This is aggressive, this is not.
Mm-hmm.
But I can do just as much from right here as I can from right here.
Sure.
And it's gonna sound a little shady, but if there's witnesses and one guy's like this and one guy's like this is the guy that's saying I didn't want to fight.
Yeah.
Right? So this is like, now I'm talking, this is way less aggressive than this. So you may have a chance of calming the situation down. What do you need? Hey, what can I do for you, man? what can I help you with? Anything I can do. You're obviously having a rough day, something like that. And then sometimes there's not that much time, right? It hits you like a freight train, and now we've got to deal with the actual confrontation. And have you practiced that? Have you put yourself in those situations? Are you comfortable being uncomfortable, which is the big leap for a lot of people. Most people think, I'll just get going. The adrenaline's, this is most of the guys I talked about. The adrenaline gets pumping. I just see red. I'm afraid to know what I would do. Well, you're not going to do anything because you haven't trained for it. You're going to get your butt kicked, and then not only that, knowing when to stop. When is the fight over? When is the threat? Did you assess the threat properly? When is that threat level down enough where the situation is contained at this point? So I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, and it all comes with training and time in. So
now you tell us a little bit about there's the different kinds of self-defense training. And you guys teach a particular one. Tell us a little bit about that and why you train in that.
Let me go. Okay. I've done martial arts. This is my 26th or 27th year. I don't know where I'm at this point. But I've trained several different styles. I'm black belt in 2 other styles. I got, by luck, connected with Royce Gracie back in 2012. And started to learn his system. And what I loved about it was the most complete system I'd ever seen. It was stand up, it was striking, it was ground, it was weapons defense. I mean, gun, knife, club, everything. It literally was he calls this program 360 because it literally it covers everything. And so after everything I'd studied, this was the one, this is the one we went with when we opened up and really trained. Just because I believe in, it's not, and a lot of people think Jiu-Jitsu, they think, tournament style points, things like that. That's not what Royce's Jiu-Jitsu is. It's the same stuff Royce used when he fought in the UFC. It's straight up self-defense. There's no points. It's just, you're going to win the fight, right, one way or another. It's a fight. There's no points in a fight. There's no time limit. How long do you have to survive? So now you got to learn how to stay calm. Like I said, being comfortable in an uncomfortable situation, because the one that runs out of gas first loses the fight. So how do you stay calm? How do you stay focused? How do you remain, locked in towards your goal? And, how do you keep assessing the situation as it goes? And it just all comes with practice. And it's something that, I think is just really important as far as self-defense goes.
Do you need accountability? Are you looking to change the course of your life but have failed to keep on track? Too often we take in information and fail to act. Do you need an accountability program to stay the course? Then go to www.thestandard.academy and find out about my accountability program that goes with my course that helps you find out what you want, why you want it, and how to get it. The accountability program keeps you on track to get results.
I think a lot of people don't realize how quickly you run out of energy. Especially if in an intense situation like when you're fighting, when you're being attacked, you're using everything.
Yes.
And you burn out pretty quickly.
Yes. Yeah, we do our sparring sessions. They're 5-minute rounds. And it's always interesting to watch. You'll see guys come in and they're in great shape, like they're just physical specimens. And we do a 5-minute round, and they're in the bathroom recovering after the first 2 minutes,
right? Because
they just went all out and they didn't understand. So and they will do that for the first couple months, and then they'll finally start. Maybe they can last a full round. It's just like. Meanwhile, the ones they're going against, like myself, Michelle, and some of the higher belts, we're barely breaking a sweat. I'll let you do all the work, man. I'll chill out and let you wear yourself out, and then it's my turn.
Sure. Now, let's talk a little bit about weapons and weapons training. Do you do some of that also?
Yeah, we do weapons defense. Her and I both shoot. We just Actually, we just completed our concealed carry course over the weekend here in Illinois. And so we do, you know, everything from gun, knife, club. I mean, we do gun from every position possible. You know, forehead, side, here, front, back. I mean, if you name it, we train it. It's just like anything possible. Same with the knife. And we call it club. It could be anything, you know, pool cue, broken stick, whatever. We even throw a chair defense in there in case you're at a really rough place and someone decides to hit you with a chair. We got that too.
Yeah, I've stopped going to those bars.
Me too. We don't go.
I once won something for my office. It was a free. It was for pool hall for partying, and so I was just like, I used to be paradox. So basically it was me and five women. And so I went to go take a look at this place, and I walked in there and I'm going like, no, this is gonna be.
That's situational awareness, or
yeah. I went in there and I had half a beer and I was going, no, we're gonna pass on this prize that we won at the auction.
It was. I get it, but that goes back to what we were talking about, right? Something doesn't look right, man. I'm out. I don't care. I'm gone.
Yeah, I think it's amazing people don't trust their instincts about stuff, and there's a lot of societal pressure about that too.
Well, they're too nice. They're taught to be nice, because when we do the women's self-defense courses, they can't imagine if a stranger asks them what time it is as they're wearing a watch. You know, they don't think about that. They think about like, well, he's so nice. He just asked me what time. I'm like, they're profiling you. They're seeing how vulnerable you are. They're seeing, you know, they're doing their steps in order to get to that point of possible attack. And so they can't handle the not be nice section of it. They're like, well, I don't want to be mean, but do you know that guy? So that's a huge thing.
We talk about that. There's a whole selection process for a victim. I mean, you know, I say there's no random attack. It's random in the fact they don't know you, but it's not random in the sense that they literally picked you out. They within a matter of minutes, they figured there's my target right there. That's it, you know, and it's just, and people don't realize that. And we have to be so, don't cringe when I say this. We have to be so politically correct these days, right? That, like you said, we're being conditioned more or less to not offend people. And we don't want to maybe, I think that person looks scary. Oh, I'm a bad person for thinking that. No, you're not. You might be right. Yeah. You might have saved your own rear end, you know?
Yeah, well, I think, you know, it's an interesting phenomenon in terms of political correctness and how many people are taught to be the sacrificial lambs at the altar of political correctness, and that's kind of unfortunate because there's lots of things. So when you tell us a little bit about you have an online program. How does that work? Because at first I was thinking that this is not something that would avail itself to being taught virtually, but during COVID we learned a lot about virtual learning and everything.
Oh my God, COVID changed our entire business. It was either sink or swim, so we had to learn how to swim in a new way, right? So we kind of anticipated the shutdown, and so the first week we were shut down, we actually had everything ready to go. So we were never even closed officially. We closed for in-person classes, but online classes kicked off the first week.
Yeah.
And within 3 weeks, we had an app developed and an online curriculum up that posts on target every week. We have 3 cycles we run through, 30 some techniques per cycle. Yeah. 30 to 40, and depending on the cycle. And but we kept that since we've even opened back up, because we were finding we were reaching people. Well, I'm stuck at home, might as well learn something new. And so they contact us, and you know, we kind of put some advertising out there, and they signed up. You know, we do they get very thorough video content every week, and they get you know, so we always recommend finding a partner to train with. and they get access to us via Zoom. You know, if you got any questions, give us a call. Let's set up a meeting. Let's go. And they can also do online classes as well. Like be live in the class. We have an iPad that an instructor will take. And
Sure. Is there anyone that you ever turned away to train?
for like in person?
Yeah, in person.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And what was the things that made you say no?
They're for the wrong reasons. We do a 1-month trial when people sign up, and we explain to them this is not necessarily a trial for you to try our classes. This is a trial for us to see if you're a fit. So, because we are very particular about who trains with us, very specific culture. You know, we want a very, how to say, a very welcoming and a very supportive culture. I don't have time for someone that wants to come in and just pad their own ego every week. That's not what I care. I don't care about that. Which when we've run into that, we've had people who come in and say, well, not literal situation. This guy came in, hey, this dude, he won't talk to me in the back office. He goes, hey, I want to start training because this dude slept with my wife and I want to learn how to kick his ass. And I was, true story, and I was like, okay, why don't you take class and we'll talk. 2 classes later, he was gone. He was gone because he wanted to jump and he wanted to start. I'm like, nope, you're not there. I don't even let people spar until 4 to 6 weeks in. You know, as far and that's very controlled sparring. That's not even all out. That's like you're going to go with a higher belt and we're going to go move by move here. So yeah, we've turned several people.
That's a funny story.
You know, the other hand, I had a guy come in one time and said, he came in with different reasons. He said, I want to learn how to fight. And I said, why? He said, because no one ever taught me. And I'm nervous in situations. So I want to feel better. Well, that's a different side of the coin.
Sure. Yeah, that's a whole different scenario.
Dude, come on in. Yeah, we got you. And that guy is still with us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so so we always do like a, would you call it an interview process when someone signs up, maybe?
Yeah, interview? We have, yeah. We kind of know why they're signing up, and then we also have on our sheet, our sign up sheet, especially for the parents, they can circle reasons are there. Yeah. So a whole list of reasons why they feel like they need to do this. So yeah,
so we know why the kids are there and everything. There's a bunch of little trigger points, you know, self-confidence, bullying, out of better focus, things like that. So they fill all this stuff out. So we know why every student is in our program.
Yeah, which we do. That's a whole nother topic with.
This is all you.
with our character traits. That's a whole other topic. What we do with the kids.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Okay.
This is all her. She's the genius on this. I can't even take credit.
So I truly believe in making sure that these individuals are good. I won't say good. That they're go out in society outside of our academy, well-rounded individuals, especially the kids. And so there's a program we developed, the character program. And so what that does is at the end of every single martial arts class, I've developed topics for every single week that the instructors, even myself, will talk to the kids about. So it could be anything from respect that month to discipline that month to personal hygiene, which we're on right now, or what are reasons why you exercise. So it's kind of educating them on everything outside of the academy that they should be doing. And we do the mat chats is what they're called. And then there's also a sheet that they pick up every month that has tons of questions. And they have to go through the scenarios and answer those questions. What would you do if a bully came up to you and pushed you down? And so it makes them think. Or it could be, you know, when should I wash my hands for the 4 or 5-year-olds? Should I wash them after petting a dog, after eating, you know? So there's all these little things that go into play, but then I developed this form that they fill out, the parents fill out every belt testing cycle. And so the parents have to fill it out. Like, are they doing their chores at home? Are they respectful at home? Are they listening to mom and dad at home? And I have a section that needs improvement. So the parents will list where they need improvement. They don't listen the first time. They don't listen the third time. And so I'll take those topics, and it helps me know how I can help that child, and what I can talk about in class also. And so I try to stick to like the topic of the month, but I'll have situations where we'll have a kid come in and he'll just start talking about how he can't wait to beat up this person. And so we'll talk about when do you use self-defense? When's the right time to use it? Who do we use it on? Do we go home and beat up our brother because we know the skills? Like, so it's a whole other character, like curriculum on teaching these values, these morals and values outside of the academy, because we assume every parent's going to do it, but not always. And they also have situations at school and home that they're confused about. And so it's a matter of just teaching them right from wrong. Like,
and you never know the situation at home.
Right. So building better leaders outside the academy, and then practicing that too. So.
Well, that comes a lot from your old job and your degree as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
She used to be a foster care supervisor for us.
Oh, okay. That's a whole different system.
Yes. So
yeah. And so I know a lot of things aren't taught at home. So I want the kids to understand, like they come to us not just to learn how to protect themselves, but they come to us to learn how, to handle situations and what to really do in life, and how to respect individuals and when not to talk. And we're very adamant about that in class when we're teaching. If they're talking, I mean, I'll stop and just look at them and wait, like, and they understand after a while. They understand, okay, I shouldn't have been talking, and so.
So where are you physically located?
We're in Macomb, Illinois.
Okay, which is what part of it?
Middle of nowhere.
Okay.
So
Western.
We are about people think Illinois, think Chicago. We are way south of Chicago. We're like 4.5 hours from Chicago. We like to refer to ourselves as the other Illinois. There's Chicago, and then there's the rest of us in the state.
Sure.
And so anyway, but why'd you kick me?
Oh, I didn't. I was just stretching. No, I was stretching.
So we're like about an hour from the Missouri and Iowa borders. So we're kind of west central Illinois.
Yeah.
Surrounded by cornfields and bean fields.
Okay. All right. Actually, I kind of get the idea. I actually took a college trip with my daughter to Iowa. We drove from from Iowa to Chicago. So
we're about in Iowa.
She was looking at the University of Iowa.
Okay.
And, it was kind of a fun trip. She used to shoot them competitive shotguns in high school. They actually had a shotgun team.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah. So it was all pretty good. So now if somebody wanted, because obviously the working with you in person is not, the people are probably not going to go drive to the middle of nowhere, Illinois. Yeah, it's just, but if somebody wanted to work with you online at the CassadyMartialArts.com, and there's a link that's going to be in the program notes. What's that process? Can you kind of go through that process of the online education?
There's a step-by-step sign up just right on the website. So it literally takes you through, choose your class, go in, and you just literally, you're signed up within minutes, and then you'll hear from us right away.
Mm-hmm.
Are you in person, online? What are you looking for? And then we'll get you set up and going within minutes.
Okay. Well, any other last words that to our audience here about self-defense, martial arts, bullying, anything like that?
If you don't mind, if you mentioned something in the beginning about how the world's changed a bit, and it's not as safe as people, almost like a doom and gloom, but it's not as safe as people want to believe it is, right?
Well, it's less safe than it was 5 years ago.
I agree. I have people argue with me on that. I'm like, no, it's not. It's worse. It's way worse. The bad people have been empowered in a way.
Yeah, East St. Louis has surpassed Honduras a city in Honduras, as the deadliest city in the world.
Oh,
Wow.
our daughter works in St. Louis. We need to pass that on to her.
Yeah, it's East St. Louis. Was it St. Louis or East St. Louis? One of those two.
I can tell you without knowing, it's East St. Louis.
Yeah, East St. Louis. I thought so. But it's literally there was a city in Honduras. I think it was the capital of Honduras, which I can't remember.
Oh my God.
Was the deadliest murder capital of the world, and
Wow.
East St. Louis has surpassed that.
Wow.
And what you're saying, but you see all the statistics. I mean, crime is up in all major metropolitan areas.
Right.
I'm looking it up right now.
So why not take it? Take the time and get the skills necessary to defend yourself and those you care about.
Right.
Yeah.
Because time's going to pass anyway. You might as well do something productive with it.
Mm-hmm.
You might as well, because the stress that comes with, and I speak from experience, the stress with not knowing what to do is ridiculous. If you at least have an idea, you're trained for this, you're ready for it. The peace of mind that brings in life in general, let alone shady situations, is priceless.
Mm-hmm.
You can't beat it.
What do you say to people that I can't do that? I can't go hit someone.
Oh, I tell them you can. I've had it in women. I mean, you want to go on this or?
No, I mean, you can, but it's just, so you're okay with people hitting you then? I mean.
Or your kids or, yeah.
I asked him that. I said, do you have children? Well, yeah. All right. Some guy gets your kid, drags him into the car. Can you stop him? Are you going to hit him? Well, I'll do whatever it takes. Then you can hit somebody. You can hit somebody. Absolutely. You just got to be. And some people are like, well, I don't believe in violence. Well, that's cute. Violence will believe otherwise. You don't have to believe in it for it not to be real.
Right.
And it's just.
It's like somebody saying, okay, well, how about gravity? Do you believe in gravity?
Yeah, exactly. You can't fly. Sorry, it doesn't work. But that's a great question. That's the kind of stuff we deal with a lot. People say, well, it's just I couldn't do it. That's not for me. I don't believe in that kind of thing. Well, that's nice. It doesn't matter whether you believe it or not. Violence will come to your door.
Yeah.
Whether you want it to or not, it doesn't matter. And
it can surprise you in many ways in terms of where people think that people have the illusion, and I think you touched on this a few minutes ago. People have the illusion of safety, that you're just one step away from being, you're one step away from walking into the wrong convenience store.
Oh yeah.
You're one, whatever. You're just one step away from somebody that may be crazy enough to hurt you.
And some people will say, well, you're just telling people to live in fear. I say, I'm not teaching you to live in fear. I'm teaching you to live with empowerment.
Right.
Have the belief in yourself and the knowledge and the actual skill set that you can do something about it. Otherwise, you have no choice but to live in fear.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Andy and Michelle, thank you very much for coming on oldguytalkstome.com. And
it was a pleasure. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, so we can talk about it. And so if you want to work with them online at CassadyMartialArts.com, the link in the program notes, and you can find out and do it online in the privacy of your home. Which is sometimes people don't like to be, some people get embarrassed about being out in public. Certainly the old guy is not. I'm an attention whore. So I know the bigger the stage, the better for me. So
I'm with you.
So this is Royce, the old guy from oldguytalkstome.com. Remember, I want you to do three things. I want you to, first of all, share, rate, and review this. And if you don't like me, we'll review it anyway. Especially if you have a tendency to write a whole bunch of bad reviews, go ahead and do that because I love trolls, and trolls boost people's ranking on social media, especially if you're a rabid troll. A rabid troll is a real good one. And if you do it really rapidly, I may even send you a shirt or a mug from oldguytalkstome.com. Remember, it's all about creating a kick-ass life for yourself and those that you love. Until next time.
Thank you for joining Dr. Orist and his incredible guest. Like what you heard and learned? Then be sure to do 3 things. 1. Subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. 2. Share this with someone who may need to hear it. 3. Leave a review and rate this podcast. Opt in at www.thestandard.academy/magazine and get our free digital magazine with savings, articles, and deeper dives into cool controversy. Be the guy who takes action. Without action, you're not going to get the results you want. Thank you again, and make it a great day.